Yep, you saw that correctly. That is Clint Russell, and the last we've seen him since he lost the Libertarian nomination to a woke social justice warrior. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke Rudowski here of thebestpoliticalshow.com, and we are going to be going live for the next 2 hours discussing all the latest and craziest news developing right now, as we got the news that France is sending troops to Ukraine. China is getting ready to invade Taiwan. Libertarian candidates have a lot of controversial takes, as we're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more, all here on this independent media broadcast for the next 2 hours. So please share this broadcast with your friends and family members, since it is one of the few ways that this broadcast actually gets out there to the general public. It really does mean a lot to have your support, and that's one of the quickest and easiest ways to get the word out there, specifically when it comes to a lot of the controversial issues that we usually talk about that the algorithm usually doesn't like. Another way to participate in this independent media broadcast is to check out lukeunfiltered.com. We do a lot of really cool stuff like nature hikes, but also give you the ability to call into the show and actually be a part of it just by simply signing up. And then when you do so, you, of course, get a Telegram channel. You go to that Telegram channel, you say, hey, I want to call in, and we will be going to you in a totally unfiltered, uncensored way where you could say, show, and ask whatever you want to us and our guest. Another way to participate in the conversation is to go to mysuperchat.com, and of course your super chats actually get to show up on screen. Check that out. It's only a 3% service charge. All the other big players charge a lot of money just to super chat. MySuperChat.com, just 3%. And it's also a way for you guys to engage in the conversation, as we're going to be reading them throughout the conversation that Bobby Take Naps is joining us for. Bobby, for the people who don't know you, who are you and how would you introduce yourself?
Instagram political comedian, commentator of sorts, a little bit of truth mixed in with comedy, and zapping pretty much everybody on every side all the time.
I appreciate your social media posts a lot. And thank you so much for filling in last minute as well. We're sort of neighbors, but I always appreciate your hot takes on social media, so it's great to have you here.
Likewise.
Another person that we have here with us that is being extremely radicalized, that is the one and only Ian Crossland, fresh off of his fast, that we're probably going to have to learn about in the next kind of platform that we go to, since it's not really that family friendly. Ian, how are you, brother? You look a lot better than you did before.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I feel like a different person than I was a week ago. It's intense. I'm Ian Crossland. I'm a social media entrepreneur, co-founder of Minds.com, CEO of Inverted Technology, where we build decentralized social media networks, musician, actor, co-host of Timcast IRL. I do this show. I got my own YouTube stuff at Ian Crossland all over the internet. Been doing it for about two decades at this point.
We got to put we keep forgetting to put your YouTube channel in the links. If my producer's watching, let's put Ian's YouTube channel in the description so we could definitely have more people check him out here. As of course, Steph is also in the house, also pooped out, literally and figuratively, from their fast. Steph, how are you? And everyone is so ready for you to dominate the conversation.
I'm doing great, except for being super yellow today. But otherwise, I'm ready to push buttons.
Yellow mellow, Stephanie. I'm kind of yellow too, as of course Clint Russell, not here. He's walking around the streets of London with a raw chicken on his head, since kind of being devastated about his major loss at the Libertarian National Convention that I just flew back from. I think maybe he's going to be here tomorrow. He was supposed to be here today, but hey, it happens. He's going through a difficult time, so hashtag pray for Clintina it should be trending out there, as of course now he is all ours. He's not going to be running for the VP ticket, and we're going to be doing a lot of work together, and we look forward to that, as of course we like Clint a lot. Clint's awesome. As we were also there at the Libertarian National Convention with the Beanie Man, Tim Pool himself, that in 2 hours from now you will be seeing interviewing the former president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Now, I'm actually a part of this conversation, not talking to Donald Trump. I wish I could have talked to Donald Trump. I sadly didn't get the opportunity, but it's about a 2-hour live podcast. The first hour and a half is with Kash Patel, Trump's former head of Intel. And the conversation got really interesting. We got into a lot of the kind of in the weeds conversations, a lot of the kind of esoteric stuff, a lot of the stuff that I think was critically important to bring up during that conversation. That was fascinating. There's going to be a lot of answers to a lot of very serious questions, like Julian Assange, not just from, of course, Kash Patel, but from Donald Trump as well. As I talked to Tim like right before and right after he did this interview with Donald J. Trump, and he's going to be asking him some important questions, whether Fauci will be prosecuted, whether there's going to be any accountability for the lockdowns, whether Julian Assange will be pardoned. So expect those answers from the former president of the United States, as Tim Pool had a 17-minute conversation with him. The hour and a half, me, Phil Labonte, Hannah, some people call her Hannah Claire, but I just call her Hannah. And of course, Tim Pool with Kash Patel. So I'm excited. A lot of people are waiting for this major podcast episode to drop. I don't know if you guys heard about it or have any kind of expectations for it as well, but it's going to be a big one. And I think everyone's going to be paying a lot of attention to it.
I didn't hear. Well, I mean, the jury's out until the episode. I love Kash. I've interviewed Kash a couple times. I really like him a lot. He's great.
Anybody that asks Donnie about accountability for the mysterious air potion and air sickness is a good question for me to hear the answer to. So I'm very pro that.
That's a very safe way to say this on this particular platform that we're all on. And thank you for saving us from the deplatform gods that look upon us and try to take us out at every moment in time.
You're welcome.
Ian, you had something to say?
No.
But
before the 8 o'clock interview.
Yeah. So it's going to be live in a few minutes. So we're going to keep you company before that major podcast episodes drop. I was apart for a little bit, so I'm going to watch it. You're going to have to wait until like an hour and a half to actually see the Donald Trump portion with Tim Pool, their one-on-one interview. But this is, I think, also another major moment for independent media where we're literally interviewing. We had RFK Jr. on Timcast IRL as well. We had a very fascinating conversation with him. And shouts out to RFK. The conversation was a little tumultuous, but he kind of came in there. He didn't give us any restrictions. I was able to ask whatever questions I wanted to ask. I didn't hold anything back, and I thought it was a very kind of fascinating, very interesting conversation that we had with RFK Jr. as well. And now we're interviewing the frontrunners here as independent media, essentially taking over the job for the corporate media. So this is a major milestone that I think is absolutely worth celebrating. So I hope a lot of people tune in. A lot of people will be tuning in, and it's going to be definitely a mile marker for all of us that I think is a big milestone that we should all kind of look back and appreciate, since this is a pretty major moment for the small guys. The little guys, the guys who compete against the corporate media. Anyway, that's my particular take on it. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say about it, but
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that not only is it important that independent journalists get to interview these types of people, because you can ask questions that haven't been siphoned through a corporate structure where they approve these questions, but also you can ask questions that don't take into consideration the advertisers that advertise on that channel. So not only does it allow the independent creators to ask those hard questions, but it also lets those creators monetize the display of asking those hard questions so that they can become more powerful and take that money and power away from them. So it's important in a multitude of reasons.
Exactly. And all the YouTube advertisers that are allegedly going to YouTube saying, we only want to be on the corporate media. Well, no, you don't have a choice anymore. Yep. To have that conversation with the President of the United States, to have the mainstream conversation dominated by the independent media, you're not going to have to advertise with all of us. Mm-hmm. So shouts out to all the advertisers that support independent media. We got Bill Tong as well. We're going to be shouting them out in a little bit as well. We love their product. Landofbilltong.com, promo code Luke, and all the other companies that decided to work with us truly are on the forefront of something really amazing, really big, since viewership in the corporate media going down dramatically. And I love to see it because they deserve to fail. They have failed us. They never asked the hard questions. They cheered on Donald Trump when he was bombing countries. They cheered him on when he was locking people down. But that's not the conversations that, of course, help propel and progress human society. Freedom, prosperity, and actually getting to the truth of the situation, which independent media does way better than the corporate media does. So the more we have a decentralized power structure, the more we have small small and independent content creators coming out there, stepping it up, doing the right thing, asking the questions without any filters, without any kind of control levers. That's amazing. That's a moment in time that I want to be a part of. I want to be alive for, as other platforms keep pushing the Overton window, and we keep doing it. And we did it. We did it with RFK. We're going to be doing it with Donald Trump. We're going to be doing it with his head of Intel. That's the way to do it, guys. And you guys, the audience, are a part of that more than ever. So I can't thank you guys, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you propping us up, helping us up, and standing up for reason, logical thinking, critical thinking, and the right to just have average conversations about things that a lot of people are afraid to have. The corporate media literally is going to do Joe Biden, and the administration is saying, you're going to have to ask this question, and you better not deviate from it, because if you do, you get lack of access forever from us. You want access, you be our little puppet. What happened with Tim? What happened with RFK? There was none of that. So shouts out to Trump, shouts out to RFK, and all these other kind of people, whether you like them or not, for understanding and realizing, hey, these independent media guys, this is where everyone's at. This is what everyone's paying attention to. And this is truly pushing the conversation in a direction that I think could save this country. And I don't just mean to be kind of grandstanding or patting myself on the back, but truly, if we didn't have the corporate media, the world would be a lot better. Right? We would be a lot better off. There wouldn't be foreign wars of aggression. There wouldn't be banker bailouts. There wouldn't be corporations that were just absolutely able to take control of our government and use it against us, because truth is the largest enemy of the larger empire of lies that the establishment surrounds themselves with. So major hallmark moment, and one of the reasons why I decided to go live today to build this up and to get everyone to Timcast IRL to watch this 2-hour podcast that I think is going to be worth watching. Ian, you're a part of this moment as well. I hope you feel proud.
I feel something very ominous coming, actually. I feel like this is the moment where people are like really elated and feel really good right before something really horrible happens. And I don't know why I feel like this, and I haven't been able to shake it for about a month. I think Alex Jones tweeted out like there's just no way that any amount of voter fraud or misalignment can stop Trump from winning the election. So expect something
big to happen.
Yeah. And I don't know, when Kennedy got assassinated and then the Vietnam War got escalated, that was kind of dirty and dark. And I would hope that something like that doesn't happen again. And then the Ukraine war escalates and all that crap, the Middle East stuff. It's really, I'm just so focused on myself and healing myself right now. And hopefully that can like extrapolate out to each person doing it. And maybe we can kind of create like a groundswell. But like just relying too much on, yay, Trump's going to win. Because like after I saw that Libertarian convention and Trump was like, I will pardon Ross Ulbricht, I was like, I might actually vote for this guy. And then when Clint didn't get the nomination, and I don't know who did, the guy that got it, I've never seen him
woke
before.
social justice warrior that literally supports all the woke corporatist policies.
I'm not voting that direction. I'm not going to do that. So it's just like that. My choices have been narrowed to, I'm not voting for Joe Biden because the guy is falling asleep at the wheel. When he routed us out of the Afghanistan war, basically that disorganized retreat that turned into a rout, and our soldiers and our equipment were left behind, or our people were left behind, our allies were left behind. I'm not voting for that. And it's like, what else do I have now? I've got this Donald Trump guy. I know a lot of his friends. I know a lot of his family. I like them. But it's still, I just haven't been able to shake this weird feeling.
No, I agree with you, and this is why we've been telling people, believe in yourself, not politicians. It's something that I've been saying throughout the beginning of my kind of career for over 20 plus years now. Better yourself. Start working out. Start taking care of yourself. Make sure you're eating right. Make sure you're sleeping right, because there's going to be very trying times. And if people don't understand that there's going to be a lot of October surprises, you're not paying attention, because there's going to be a lot of October surprises. The establishment definitely has something up their sleeves that we don't understand. I think Donald Trump has won a lot of the Libertarian vote. We're going to talk about the Libertarian Party in just a little bit. But I think on the forefront, one of the biggest issues out there right now is what's happening internationally, geopolitically. I think right now I want to talk about these stories because these stories are important as we're facing major escalations in the Middle East, in Taiwan, in Ukraine, as the United States military empire literally put a down payment on the future of these conflicts with Congress passing military spending bills, essentially with the United States putting a down payment on the future of war in those areas. And guess what? Tensions in those areas are rising dramatically, specifically in Russia, as of course the United States is warning Russia of total destruction. The Polish foreign minister came out and said, quote, Americans told the Russians that if they detonate a nuclear bomb, even if it doesn't kill anyone, we will hit all your targets and positions in Ukraine with conventional weapons and destroy them all. Very harsh words from the Polish foreign minister, as of course tensions have been ramping up as the Russians have been threatening the United States and have been threatening nuclear warfare and essentially a global world war. So we're seeing a lot of saber rattling. We're seeing a lot of conversations specifically centered around saying, hey, you want to threaten me? I'm going to threaten you. And this is not a good situation to be in, because with the level of advanced weaponry that these governments have, we are facing a lot of very serious problems that if they blow up, there's no going back from. As we have another article from antiwar.com that reads that the Russian jamming is making some U.S. weapons ineffective in Ukraine. We also got a report highlighting how the Russian military-industrial complex is able to produce military shells a lot more quicker and a lot more cheaper than the United States and other NATO countries. And their war machine has been mobilized by the larger kind of threats, the larger military operations, as the Russians have responded to Poland, saying specifically, you guys face a nuclear dust cloud, in response to the foreign minister saying, hey, you guys better not blow up a nuke or the Americans are going to attack you, as the Russians are saying, well, this is just going to mean a global, full, all-out war, which is not good. And something that is not advantageous for the people of the world. It's not only going to affect the economy, it's going to affect all ways of life, as, of course, full-on perpetual war essentially means the end of the world, kind of. And I'm not being hyperbolic about it. I don't know if this has been on the forefront from what you guys have been paying attention to, but especially over the weekend, it seems like tensions have ratcheted up to extremely dangerous proportions. What are you guys seeing and feeling?
Well, one thing that I think is really interesting about the upcoming election as it relates to this is, like, it's one thing to say that you like one guy versus because of their policies about this, that, or the other thing, but sometimes it's the simpler things that kind of move the needle one way or the other. It's like, in the event of some global calamity, do you really want Joe Biden being the person that's negotiating whatever these things are and affecting the future of society and humanity and really just the world in general? And then more importantly, maybe even than that, is, do you really think that Kamala Harris is the best negotiator in one of these types of calamities? Because if you really believe that's the case, I'm just curious what evidence would suggest or what would convince you to believe that way. So purely for this very significant thing, it's like, clearly I think that those two are at the very least not up for that task from any reasonable perspective.
And one of the things that Donald Trump mentioned during his Libertarian Convention speech, where he was booed by half the room there, was, I will be the candidate that stops war. I will be the anti-war candidate, something that he promised before. His record is kind of mixed on, to be quite honest, but still a lot better than all the other presidents before him, as he came out and said, I'm the only president that hasn't started a new war. Yeah, that's true. And with him saying, hey, I'm going to end these conflicts, this is one reason why a lot of libertarians now, especially with their latest pick, especially even myself, I'm like, this guy's a lot better than Joe Biden, who almost certainly is escalating tensions, not handling these conflicts correctly. The country in the Middle East that we're not allowed to talk about here on YouTube is literally running circles around him, saying, we're going to do whatever we want. You want this? We're going to do the opposite of that. What are you going to do? Oh, you're going to stop weapons shipments for 12 hours? Yeah, you're going to give us the weapons after those 12 hours. And he did. So he's definitely acquiescing and kind of bending the knee. And what we saw from Afghanistan truly does highlight an administration that isn't all there when it comes to geopolitical developments.
Well, they say, not to
go for it,
the way they say, like, you know, how you do anything is how you do everything, right? And it's like, an analogy that I think makes sense in this case is like, think about like a restaurant, for example. It's like if the leader of the restaurant, the manager of the restaurant, the owner of the restaurant is not present or isn't making good decisions, further down the line, those people are the ones that are making the decisions. They're not the ones that are financially hurt or benefited as a result of those decisions. So it's like if Joe Biden doesn't have the wherewithal to make whatever decision needs to be made, or Kamala Harris or whoever, it just gets passed down the chain. And it's like if you're doing a terrible job at one small thing, like not sweeping the front of the restaurant, chances are you're not sweeping the back of the restaurant. You're not checking the quality of the food and so forth. So all these errors and issues that we see in daily life as a result of bureaucracy would transfer up in these types of situations as well. Is Joe Biden really making a decision? Okay, it goes to the defense secretary. He's out for some medical condition, goes to the next person. So it's like, who's really making those decisions? If you see bad things happening around you over here, it's reasonable to think that they would happen in that case should something really significant happen again.
Absolutely. This administration can't get anything right. They can't do anything in a way where it's a common sense approach. It's always a way where it screws over the American people. You look at what they're doing with student loan forgiveness. You look at what they're doing when it comes to the U.S. oil reserves. You look at every single policy. It is passing the buck later down the kind of line where who's going to be paying for that? We are. Oh, you're indebting us. You're causing all this inflation. And again, I brought this up with Kash Patel. Donald Trump doesn't have the best record, especially when it comes to spending as well. Mm-hmm. But he's promising to be totally different, and we're actually able to have conversations about the Federal Reserve with him, as he previously, when he was first running, he was talking about auditing the U.S. Federal Reserve System. So I made sure to bring that up to Kash Patel in today's interview that's going to be coming out with Donald Trump himself. So, Ian, you look like you have something to say.
Oh, I do. I'm just kind of echoing what you guys are talking about, but we need like a proactive peace plan. At least that's what excites me and makes me want to support someone, is when they're actively explaining how they're going to reduce hostilities and improve living conditions for the people on Earth. I haven't heard that out of Biden's administration or out of Joe at all. Like I've heard him say a lot like, we are the anti-Trump campaign. We are about anti-Trump. Trump is bad. We are here because bad Trump, bad Trump. Mm-hmm. That's not really thrilling me and exciting me to follow or join them. I need I want to see what direction we're going to be heading once you do away with the things you don't like. What's the plan? So at least Don's like open to ending hostilities, whatever that means. At least he's speaking about doing it. That's the first step. Is he's verbally outlining a plan. He wants to reduce hostility. Good. Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. You brought up a great point, since the Democrats don't really have a platform that they're running on other than, I'm not Donald Trump. And I'm like, okay, we get it. But Donald Trump is starting to make sense, especially when he comes on the national stage and says, no more war. Stop this war in Ukraine. The conflict in the Middle East is another conflict, but I think right now there are major events developing inside of Ukraine that are absolutely worrying. But in related news to this administration not being able to do anything right, we have this article from Daily Hedge that reads, Mayor Pete Buttigieg bombs CBS interview, blames airline turbulence on climate change as host laughs in his face. This is Face the Nation, Pete Buttigieg. Let's play a small clip for you guys right now from it. Okay, hold on.
The Federal Highway Administration says only 7 or 8 charging stations have been produced with a $7.5 billion investment that taxpayers made back in 2021. Why isn't that happening more quickly?
So the president's goal is to have 500,000 chargers up by the end of this decade. Now, in order to do a charger, it's more than just plunking a small device into the ground. There's utility work, and this is also really a new category of federal investment. But we've been working with each of the 50 states. Every one of them is getting formula dollars to do this work, engaging them in the first handful. Again, by 2030, 500,000 chargers. And the very first handful of chargers are now already being physically built.
She's even like, are you kidding me? You only built 7 and 8 of these things? You got $7.5 billion? That is $1 billion per electric vehicle charging station. As of course, a lot of people are finding out these electric cars aren't as kind of environmentally friendly as a lot of people expect them to be. And it's pretty clear, like we see in California. I remember reporting today about the billions of dollars that they spent there on specific train tracks that were only built in a very small portion of territory that literally goes to nowhere, and have only built about half a mile of it and spent billions of dollars on these larger projects. As of course, this government can't get anything right. And you want them to talk about complex geopolitical situations with world war on our doorstep? Yeah. No, thank you. I'm okay. I'm out. I don't understand how anyone could vote for them.
I hope that, in this benefit of the doubt to this administration, I hope that what they're doing is they're laying the groundwork underground, literally, that they're building out the utilities underground. And the last thing that's going to happen is all the charger stations are going to be put into place. So we're not going to see it until 2028, 2029, when we start actually installing the pylons. I hope that's what's happening.
You don't know how government works, Ian. Have you ever been to the DMV?
Yeah.
At the DMV, that is a perfect representation of government. And if you ever want to be radicalized, we'll do a field trip, Ian. We'll go to the DMV.
I will say,
and then you'll learn the in and outs of the federal government and local government, and how your tax-paying dollars are just absolutely being wasted away by all these stupid projects that don't amount to anything.
Since the COVID shutdowns, the DMV is like one of the
magic air.
It's the wonderful air potion permeated all of reality. The DMV has been the most improved. That gets the MVP, or the most improved award, because now you can schedule your appointments. So that's a big improvement. I had to re-get my license because I'd let it lapse during that experience. And now you schedule it for 3 o'clock. You walk in, 2:55, 3 o'clock. You're up the counter. It's way better now. Way better now.
It's like the most basic of functions that they could possibly get,
and
right?
they still get it wrong.
And they're just
I had an appointment. They messed up the appointment. I still had to wait there like 2 hours. I'm like, what are you doing?
Brutal.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, with Mayor Pete, isn't it funny that it's like, what are the qualifications for this guy to have this job? It's like, he proposed to Chasten in an airport or on a train or something. It's like, that's his qualification. He's a McKinsey analyst that became a mayor of a town that had bad infrastructure, couldn't fill potholes, and he can't figure out how to get charging stations. Like, is anybody surprised by this? And I would bet that there's probably clips of that exact same MSNBC host talking about how historic and incredible it is that we have this guy in this position. And now she's like, oh, what a surprise.
How diverse is it? How great that we have a quality that is not competency, but superficial about his extracurricular activities of what he decides to put up inside of himself. How great! That's awesome. Yeah, that's. I'm like, this is really what the administration is about. They've been patting themselves on the back, saying, "Look how diverse we are." Look how you're failing at everything. Yeah. Look how society is being rocked by your diversity efforts that prove the larger incompetencies of the federal government.
And I wouldn't call it a bribe, but when Pete was running against Joe Biden in 2020, they basically, one day, all the Democratic nominee candidates, except for Bernie Sanders, just stopped running for office and then supported Joe Biden. Like, in 1 week, they were all like, yeah, we all give up. Joe Biden's the candidate. And then he got put on Biden's cabinet. So I wouldn't call that a bribe, but it's like you want to support me, I'll get you a job later, kind of thing. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, that's politics. That's how a lot of it is done here. We got some other news articles to talk about that are developing inside of Ukraine right now, as The Guardian is reporting that Zelensky has just announced that Kiev forces have taken control of the Kharkiv border area. These news reports are being contested by the Russians, as the New York Times is also reporting that Russia plans on new offensive in the northeast of Ukraine, according to Volodymyr Zelensky, as it's pretty clear that this conflict will be escalating, as we got the news reports that French soldiers have now officially been sent to Ukraine and are acting as instructors training Ukrainian troops. Now, there have been foreign countries that have taken Ukrainian troops in, Spain, one of those countries, France being one of those countries, but now French soldiers being on the ground, NATO soldiers being on the ground during these battles, where they could become targets, where they could lose their lives. When they lose their lives, the French countries, the French country, NATO, are going to see this as a direct attack against them, as they're putting their soldiers in these combat zones, as of course this signals larger troubling signs for this entire conflict, because it's pretty clear there's already a ton of foreign mercenaries involved in this conflict. Already, there's so many foreign countries involved in this conflict. Now you have NATO troops inside of Ukraine. That is an absolutely reckless policy. That is absolutely a dangerous policy. And that is a policy where we are only a few steps away from an official declaration of full, all-out war between Russia, its allies, and of course the Western world. And then when that happens, all bets are off. Everyone's in danger.
I'm trying to look it up. I think it was Mario Nawfal reported on this on X that Putin was looking to sue for peace, that he wanted to stop hostilities. I mean, this was like from yesterday, the day before.
Yeah, a couple days ago, Vladimir Putin proposed specifically that there is a truce and that the territories are cut between the battle lines right now. So whatever Russia took over, it will be Russia. Wherever Ukrainian soldiers are, that will be Ukraine. And he offered this larger kind of proposition of peace that hasn't been met. It hasn't been approved. So it's been officially, I think, kind of denied, as, of course, the Ukrainians are saying, no, we want all of our land back, including Crimea, which the Russians said that they would never, ever give back. So
sending people from France there, or the military from France there, only opens the door for there to be another issue that involves us and so many other NATO countries. It's almost like, it's kind of like, the best example I could think of is the mob. Like if you have the boss's son and he's at a bar and gets in a bar fight with somebody, and then they have to go and now kill this guy. It's like you send those French troops over there, and if they retaliate against them where they probably shouldn't be there in the first place, well, now the entire world has to come to your defense, even if you're in the wrong. So this is just a further escalation that really involves us almost as much as it involves France.
Echo
Absolutely.
of the past, man. Just in Vietnam, it all started with the French. The French were the first ones there. They were the colonizers. They were trying. I don't know if they were colonizers or what, but they had troops over there before the United States sent their advisors in. Not that it's not that big of a coincidence, but it's just like I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
China also probably will be involved in the future conflict, as Viktor Orban, the prime minister of Hungary, came out and said, quote, Europe is preparing to start a war with Russia. Now, Russia is, of course, answering back very aggressively. There are battle lines being drawn. There are troops being moved around. There are defensive positions being put up, specifically around Poland as well. There's a drone wall that is literally being built on the border of Belarus and all the other Russian territories in the east of Europe as well.
What's that?
Pull it up, and then if there's an article you want me to send you, feel free to send it to me. But it was essentially drones being utilized for, quote, defensive purposes on the Belarusian kind of border between Poland and where the Russians are now sending a lot of their forces.
Oh.
But what and if you want to send it to me, I could pull it up as well. But if you want to read from it as well, you can.
Yeah, sure. Maybe I can fire this over to you. NATO to build drone wall on the border with Russia and Belarus. This is a NATO operation, and they want basically, it looks like a moving wall of drones. Whether are they armed? Do these drones have weapons on them?
Of course they are. Some of them are surveillance drones. Some of them are armed drones. As the United States and China are literally building drone swarm technology that will forever change the face of war. We look at world wars and we look at global conflicts. We look at larger conflicts, and there's always a technology that changes that shocks the populations. I remember, the machine gun when it first kind of came out shocked a lot of the soldiers on the front lines because they were just absolutely petrified at how much bullets could just get thrown at them in such a very fast time that people were just running towards these things and getting mowed down, not realizing this kind of latest technological advancement that changed the whole spectrum of war, and that's why they built a lot of trenches right after that. Tanks, when they were also utilized and invented, also changed the landscape. And I think this war is teaching us that drones are the new rifle. Drones are far more effective than military men, far more effective than machine guns, and not only have the ability to surveil and spy on specific regions and get recon on specific regions, but have the ability to take out a soldier like that. And the soldier is left with very little defenses, trying to get away from these killer robots that literally have artificial intelligence built into them to take out as many human lives as possible. That's terrifying.
They can
right
fly
now.
under radar too. Like you mentioned the machine gun. That took the humans a couple of years to understand. This is World War I, 1914, 15, 16, when they took them years, literally, before they started to figure out how to not charge directly at machine gun nests. I mean, they had at that point, they kind of had no other choice, so they built the tank. And then World War II, they were like, well, we can never have that. We'll just build a impenetrable defensive line, the Maginot Line in France. They're like, we know Germany's building up an arsenal and a weaponry, but we have a line of defense that can't be stopped. And then we've got the Ardennes Forest, which is impenetrable to tanks as we know it. But the Germans built a new tank that just tore through the forest. They captured Paris within like 6 weeks. Now we've got drones. I don't think the humans understand. Like, it might just be that people can't go outside. Like, that could be what it is. And if you go outside, you'll die kind of danger.
You can't be inside as well, as the drones are seen literally taking out tanks. If they could take out tanks, they could take you out inside of your home very easily.
The little ones, like a tiny little explosive.
They have tiny bullet drones that are literally super small that could probably get in between your door or through your window. All you take is one drone that takes out the window. A second drone comes into your room. That's it. You're done. Yeah. And to think that they don't have this level of technological sophistication is naive, because what the Americans have isn't even the latest and greatest that they're giving to Ukraine. So what they have that they haven't utilized yet, absolutely terrifying, since we spent so much on military advancement and war.
And artificial intelligence, which you brought up a little bit, like that thing could turn on humanity in general.
Extremely. Very fast.
Like we think the Russians, if people think maybe the Russians and the Chinese are the enemies, maybe it's actually this new form of intelligence that's being created could turn out to be the problem that we got to fight against.
Well, good thing we have Kamala Harris to hold us, to protect us from all of this.
Good old Sleepy Joe is definitely not taking naps on the job. He's definitely fully competent and fully secure and fully strong and able to deal with all these worldwide dictators with his iron, strong fist that hopefully he could clasp.
I actually talked with Kash Patel about this, about drone defense, because I think that swarm warfare is the next phase of war technology, that we need some sort of like point defense system where we can like burst fire. I don't know if it's lasers or EMP blasts. So like if you've got 60,000 drones swarming around you, you need some sort of machine that can hit them all at once with like a burst fire of electronics, of some sort of electricity. So hopefully they're working on countermeasures. Usually the offense is built first, and then it takes a little while for the people to build some sort of defense. And that's probably the phase that we're at right now.
They probably already have drones with nuclear weapons built inside of them that are just ready to go. And when you think about that level of kind of advancement, that level of like war, because they were talking about briefcase nuclear bombs after 2001. And I'm like, well, look at these drones. You could very easily put one of those in that, and those can't be stopped by modern air defenses. It's very difficult to stop. A lot of the Russians are using jamming kind of technology, but when they turn on their jamming technology, they're not able to communicate with each other because it jams all signals. So they're left in a way where they have to keep it on or off depending on the situation that they're in. But once it's on, they can't get a signal out. They can't talk. They can't radio back into headquarters to even understand what's going on. So they have to leave it off. And then in the middle of the night, they think they're sleeping, and these thermal drones come on and then literally see exactly where they're sleeping, and they just kamikaze into them. So this is like kamikaze, Japanese level style kind of attack drones that will absolutely change the face of modern conflict. Just a couple years ago, the Pentagon-linked entertainment industry was having you simulate this. You were flying drones in Call of Duty that were, kamikaze drones. Now we're seeing it utilized in Ukraine in so many vicious, terrible ways. I mean, you see the videos. They're gory. They're horrible. You just see limbs flying everywhere. And that's the face of modern war. And that's the early stages of it. That's the stuff that isn't even that advanced yet. So this is why I've always been anti-war. This is why I'm always calling for de-escalations and saying, hey, we need to talk. We need peace deals. We need people to come to the table and say, hey, this is lunacy. This is crazy. I don't want to be involved in this. Why are my tax dollars going to this? We could literally try to go out into outer space. We could explore the ocean depths that we've never explored. We could work together cohesively as humanity to try to explore and expand human consciousness. But we're literally blowing each other up with toy robots.
Why do you think that is?
That's a good question. That's a very kind of big open-ended question for a lot of people. I want to leave the question to the audience members. Why do you think that is? I don't have an answer to it. I would need to pontificate about it for quite a while to give you a more kind of cohesive answer, but I'm not equipped to do that right now because I'm still pulling up different stories.
Do you get black-pilled when you deal with this news?
Sometimes, yeah. I used to feel like there was very much like a good guy and a bad guy, but now I almost feel like it's hard to identify anybody that's like mostly right or mostly altruistic. So I do find myself more black-pilled as time goes on. Yeah.
Like I spent the last couple of weeks doing this cleanse, like an intense fasting cleanse, just to heal my body, and I've been like, oh, I don't want to be involved in politics. I want out of the politics realm, but like. I mean, firstly, it's impossible. If you don't pay attention to politics, it will pay attention to you. I think Plato said that.
Yeah, if you're not involved in politics, politics will be involved in you.
Yeah, and like drones, airplanes, like you can't hide in the jungle. Those things can fly above you and drop bombs on you. There's no hiding from this stuff. Maybe you can go underground. They're building tunnels, the Boring Company. So and I'm so entrenched in it, like extracting myself from this environment is a bit of a challenge at this point. But I don't know, man.
But it's more important than ever. We need a change in leadership. We need to get away from this trajectory. And this is why this election is so important, because we could be on the same path that we are on, the same path towards global destruction, or we could change the path and influence it. So right now, more than ever, we got to influence it. We got to start those conversations. We got to address those conversations to the politicians who want our vote. This is the time more than ever that we got to put out our list of demands. We can't waver on them. We can't worship the politicians. We got to make them understand they work for us and we don't want war. Every single candidate that has ever been elected has promised not to start new wars, not to expand wars. Every one of them has done it except for Donald Trump, which, again, is a major marker that he brings up all the time. And it's an important marker, especially with such crazy, tumultuous times that we're all in right now.
Yeah, I was thinking of Kennedy. He did expand the Vietnam conflict in the beginning and then started to refuse more expansion, at least with the Bay of Pigs. Or in Cuba, they wanted him with Operation Northwoods to sign off to do some false flag and invade Cuba. He wouldn't do it. So he stopped playing ball, and then they kind of removed him from office.
Yeah, we talked about that with RFK Jr. We asked him, like, did the CIA take out your family? He's like, yep, they sure did. So.
And then Tim was like, why? And he's like, why do I think that? Or why did they do it? That was a good one. That was a good question.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, that military industrial. I don't know if they just want global stability through force, if that's it. Man.
Steph, we have some super chats that we should read. Are you okay reading them from the Telegram channel and the YouTube chat?
Sure. We have Nonstop Yap Dimfool saying the Libertarian Party is just a bunch of clowns who cannot be taken seriously and will never be taken seriously, full of people who flaunt their moral superiority despite having no real prospects of winning. Just a bunch of losers.
But how do you really feel, Nonstop Yap Dimfool? How do you, I'm just joking. Go ahead. Read another one.
Anonymous says, I have been a registered libertarian since 1992. Last night was the final straw. I have submitted my resignation to R. The party has decided to be a minus for the U.S., and I won't be a part of it anymore.
I sort of identify with that. I am libertarian in general, small L. This is a quote. Pat Buchanan, was it Pat Buchanan? Someone said, I'm a libertarian, small L, but I'm a Republican, big R, because that's the realistic. Like, my values are very libertarian, but I'm a Republican in order to actuate those values on the global stage.
Yeah, Donald Trump literally came on the stage and was like, I was never really a libertarian until I got arrested, and then I became a libertarian. Steph, let's read the other ones, please.
Lil Junkie Poo says, FDR promised to not get involved in WW2 either. The televangelist made a lot of promises in 2016 too. Why do you believe it'll be different this time? Genuinely curious why you want him.
Thank you, literally, Little Junkie Poo. It's not that I want anyone. It's that the track record kind of speaks for itself. There's reasons to be critical, and we have been critical of it extensively. We've been very honest about it. I think a lot more than a lot of other independent media outlets out there. And we're the ones actually bringing up these issues to the administration and the people within his circle. So I think it's important to have those honest conversations. And a lot of presidents, George W. Bush said he was going to be a non-interventionist president. Barack Obama promised not to start new wars, promised to reel in the kind of deep state. Trump made some promises, but out of all of them, he didn't start any new wars. So I think there's credence to this. Biden, again, expanded the conflicts, and truly something that I think deserves to be criticized since we're on a pathway for global war. Is there any way else to kind of answer that question? I don't know what you guys think.
What was the question exactly?
Why do you believe that politicians not going to start more conflicts?
Yeah, I don't, but it is the least worst option. I mean, Biden is incapable, unfortunately, in my opinion, at this stage, which is really, really disappointing because I thought Obama at least had some wisdom, but he was co-opted by the military-industrial complex right away and just kind of played ball. And then the Libertarian Party, I thought Clint Russell, I mean, he speaks for truth. He's a loud, open guy, but I don't know. When it comes to leadership, I mean, we've got to have somebody in that role. We don't have to. We could try a government without a president. I don't think, but the way it's set up, we're supposed to have a guy in that role. So I'm just looking at the least worst option, and I really don't trust any of them, nor should you. You got to really trust yourself, and start from the ground up.
Absolutely.
I think that's a reasonable take to suggest that your actions speak louder than your words, and Trump certainly says a lot of things, but in the not starting a lot of conflicts, or at the very least seeming to not want conflicts, I think that he's definitely got the lead in that regard, as opposed to Biden and the left in general. I think that's a safer bet just based on his actions alone.
Yeah, Steph, can you read the super chats here on the right-hand side on the screen?
Andrew Jacobs says, "Thank you so much for your service to LP/MC Clint."
Yeah, shout out to Clint Russell, man. He put it all on the line. That's a big, 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 bold move.
We also have Scroties McGoties saying, "I have a friend who went to Texas GOP convention over the weekend. He said the caucuses were very tense. I showed him the LP convention stream. He lolled. He said Brandon Herrera showed up and received a lot of love there."
I didn't see Brandon Herrera at the LP, but he might have been at the GOP convention in Texas. I don't know what exactly you're talking about. But Brandon Herrera does represent a new kind of politician that is definitely speaking a good game and pushing the Overton window.
You were there at the convention, probably not for the whole time, Luke. I'm sure you didn't see every piece of action that was going on. But did it feel like a clown show? Or was that just how the media was portraying it?
Good question. There was definitely elements of it that were like a little bit kooky, a little bit weird. But it was mixed in with a lot of really good, solid people, a lot of smart people, a lot of brilliant people, a lot of kind of sophisticated kind of thinkers, and a lot of weirdos.
Were people taking their clothes off on stage?
No, there was one person that was it was like an older dude wearing skimpy clothes that was kind of temporarily detained for holding a sign during Trump's speech. That was kind of, I think their name was like Stardust or something. So there was a couple of those characters, just a dude in like lingerie.
Okay, but
walking around.
He was not a speaker. No. That's okay. I thought I saw something like that.
No, but
he's the vice president candidate.
Yeah. It wasn't that much of. I mean, it was a little bit of a clown show. But I always kind of respect and like the Libertarians. They're very entertaining. They're not boring. I'm more of less government than the Libertarians personally myself. So I never really got involved in the party or their kind of events. But there was a lot of people there from all different walks of life. But a lot of unfit people too. So, and a lot of older people. And I made this comment to Tim. I was like, you could see that there is absolutely some kind of thing happening behind the scenes that is preventing young people from ever hearing this message. You could see that the algorithms have been cooked in a way where this message that usually is popular amongst a lot of anti-establishment people isn't getting across to anyone under the age of 40. And that's absolutely, truly concerning because there were a lot of people there. Some of them not healthy, that probably won't be long for this world.
That libertarian, the message was was very prominent with young people in 2008. Ron Paul was good at that, although he was running as a Republican at the time.
He was there yesterday. He gave a speech to everyone there yesterday talking about the larger kind of pitfalls and problems with the U.S. dollar. We actually have the article kind of pulled up here as he was talking about how the U.S. dollar will be rejected as the world reserve currency in the next economic crisis. He definitely got, I think, the most applause. He got the most support. He was on the delegate stage, and as soon as he kind of came on stage, everyone just kind of erupted and went crazy. We had Julian Assange's brother on yesterday, and we ended the stream a little bit early just so we could kind of hear Ron Paul. And like as we were walking there, the crowd just erupted and went crazy for Ron Paul, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Did anybody talk about pardoning Assange? Did that much of a topic of conversation?
Yeah. RFK talked about pardoning Assange. That's one of his platforms that he stands on. He announced it during the Bitcoin conference. He announced it again when he addressed the crowd. He did video in asking to be nominated, which was weird because if you wanted to be nominated, you had to be there. You had to talk to the delegates. So he gave a speech, and then he literally called in during the voting process and was like, I want to be your representative. And I think he got like 6 votes. Or 12 votes initially. There was many rounds of voting, and people wrote his name in, but he really didn't get a lot of.
He would have been a good
well.
option. I'm surprised that people didn't rely more on or didn't consider more using RFK's popularity to push the libertarian momentum. I get it because he's not really a libertarian, at least not really a small L libertarian. According to Clint, to be honest, I don't know. That's just a conversation I've had with Clint in the past.
Steph, we have another super chat here. Do you want to read it?
Sure, we got Slain Hope saying Biden isn't revving up his campaign to regain lost ground. It's like he's conceded defeat. But we know Dirty Joe has some dirty tricks up his sleeve.
Absolutely. We have another super chat in the Telegram chat. Get that one ready really quick, as of course we have a perfect representation of what's happening right now with Joe Biden inside of the White House.
Yeah, right.
Now look, Jack, I was told if it all messes up, then we'll just blame the Republicans. Anyway, where's my ice cream? How did I get here? Well, who are you people?
Yeah, that's a perfect representation of what's really going on here. That's a DeFranzer meme. Shouts out to DeFranzer and all the artists and all the meme makers out there and all the satirists and comedians that help us laugh during these very key, crazy, difficult times. Steph?
Whiskey Pete 47 says, I'm more concerned with Ian's shirt than the goings-on in Europe.
What define concern? Yeah, I love this shirt. This was a gift. It's also a woman's shirt. The buttons are on the opposite side. Shout out to Judd Berza for giving me this shirt.
I could see that.
15 years ago or so.
Yep. As of course, that's the shirt that a libertarian presidential candidate would wear, especially as we have memes like this highlighting the Libertarian Party, quote, having a moment, highlighting Javier Milei with his chainsaw saying how it started, and the new Libertarian presidential candidate with the pride flag at a pride event that he was seen waving around just a few years ago as the nominee for the Libertarians has raised some kind of serious questions here as overall, as he kind of supports the it kind of policies, the policies that the establishment pushes on, that the corporations support, the establishment message that is now being supported, the statist message that now is being supported by the Libertarian candidate. As of course, a lot of Libertarians are looking at this situation being like, how in the world did we let this happen? Well, it did after, of course, Chase Oliver, the LP presidential candidate, cut a deal with a person that was running in third place in order to allow him to be the VP if they put their support behind him. And that's how he was able to get a win over Mr. Michael Rechtenwald, that, of course, lost the nomination. When Rechtenwald lost, so did Clint Russell. And now the Libertarians are stuck with this guy that has argued for some really weird, questionable policies, especially when it comes to children, when it comes to transitioning, when it comes to puberty blockers, when it comes to these drag queen performances and all these other kind of larger social cultural issues that clearly he is on the side of the establishment with. For my opinion, this is a clear victory for Donald Trump more than ever, as a lot of the libertarians now are saying, yeah, I'm just going to vote for Donald Trump after this guy or Donald Trump. Donald Trump right away.
Then
and
how
I
did
can
this
understand
guy
that.
get there then? How did he get voted? Like, why would they pick him?
It sounds like he made a backroom deal with another candidate, kind of like what Pete Buttigieg and Biden did, where they're like, hey, if you drop out and support me, I'll put you on my cabinet. And then so Chase Oliver worked with the number 3 guy to bypass Rechtenwald at number 2 to get the number 3 guy's votes. I don't want to count Chase Oliver out. I'd like to meet him. Like, I've seen some propaganda that he's like waving the rainbow flag or whatever.
As soon as he won, we invited him on the show. I went to Twitter and I DM'd him right away. Love to have you on your show. We would, because we want to talk to you. We want to hear from you. We want to understand your positions, and we would be respectful to you. And it might happen with the way that things are going. So you might have that chance very soon, Ian.
Good.
Well, it just goes to show that the best product doesn't always win, but the best marketed one does, and the best strategy usually tends to win. And that kind of explains why the young people have been bamboozled so much to support Joe Biden, is that they have better marketing, better branding, and better sloganeering than the right does. And that's why they're able to capture the minds of all these young people. So they're doing the exact same thing, just obviously not in a way that we seem to like.
People in the chat are saying, yeah, absolutely. That was a backdoor, quote, deal that was made with this guy. But yeah, that's now the Libertarian Party. A lot of people are kind of like responding to this in so many different kind of ways. A lot of them are shocked. A lot of them are criticizing the Libertarian National Convention. But overall, I think if there ever was a movement to make that will solidify the Libertarian support for Donald Trump, this is it. As of course, the Libertarian Party has different factions in it. There is a woke leftist faction, and there's a Mises caucus, kind of America First faction of it as well. The two are at odds with each other. There's drama between the two. They're fighting between the two. But it looks like that woke libertarian leftist kind of delegation was able to win after Rechtenwald gave a kind of bewildering speech right before Donald Trump, as a lot of people kind of lost their support after that particular moment. That really didn't help them during this situation.
I saw a clip of that, and he was like, and I was like, what is he joking? What is he doing right now? It was kind of like that one guy was like, yeah, remember that old candidate?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who the hell that guy was.
Edwards.
Yeah.
Yes,
Isn't that
John
his name?
Edwards,
John
who was
Edwards.
a Bilderberg member who got kicked out of politics for cheating on his wife who had cancer.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's right.
And he was running, I think it was in 2008, John Edwards running as a Democrat maybe. And then when he did that weird ass video where he was like, yeehaw, and everyone was like, oh, this guy is whacked. I'm not voting for that. And then so Rechtenwald seemed to have a yeehaw moment in that speech, but I only saw 10 seconds and it was kind of out of context. You see the whole
I saw the whole thing, and people were like, wait, what's going on here?
Oh my God. Well,
It was
something.
It was something. I'll just leave it at
And
that.
you know, Trump. One of the things Trump was saying at the convention is, if you want to lose, just vote Libertarian, get your 3% again. Then maybe in 4 years you can do it again, get 3% again, or you can vote for me and we can do something real, and I'll put a Libertarian in my cabinet. And that was like soberingly honest and true. The Libertarians, as much as I would love for the ideology to be perpetuated, the party itself has been getting 3%. You know, they struggle to get on ballots and things like that. So at this point, I'm just like, yeah, it's time to be a realist.
Hey, Steph, read the last super chat right now in the Telegram group.
King of Biltong says, hey, Bobby, great to see you on We Are Change. Hope you're doing well, sir. We need to catch up at some point. We will chat soon. More Biltong for you.
A direct message. Love it. What's up, man?
Yeah, shouts out to King of Biltong. Definitely go follow them. They're a family-owned business. We work with them, and they provide an awesome, incredible product, and that is this Biltong that we have here in my particular hands that every one of our guests likes. I think you like it, too.
Show it to us,
very
Luke.
much.
What happened?
Show it to us. You're swinging it.
Yeah, right there. There it is.
Mm.
It's absolutely incredible.
Wagyu.
It's absolutely awesome. As of course, you guys should check out landofbiltong.com. Promo code WRC for free shipping. It's an awesome family-friendly snack, low in carbs, packed with protein, making Biltong the ultimate health snack. Biltong is a great source of iron and also serves as a source of several other essential nutrients, including magnesium, potassium, and B vitamins, which translates into exceptional gains in all aspects of life. If you follow any high-protein, meat-based diet, biltong should be an essential part of your diet. There's a lot of online content creators that work with them. We're very proud to work with them. Again, it's promo code WRC, free shipping on biltongusa.com. We're going to make sure to put it in our description, and we're going to make sure our producer gets to send it out to the people in the chat room right now, so you could just copy and paste everything over. You could go on the website and support this family-owned business that really does provide such an incredible product. This is like upgraded beef jerky that I actually love. A lot of beef jerky usually has a lot of sugars and all this artificial flavoring and all this crap in it. This biltong, way better than all of that. You feel the fat. It's so good. I love it. Clint loves it. We pay Clint exclusively just in biltong, nothing else, and he's very happy with that particular deal. I don't know if you guys want to say anything about this particular product, but it's awesome and incredible. Check out biltongusa.com.
And there's a lot of flavors. There's like 4 or 5 different. We get new flavors all the time. I can't even keep up with all of them yet. There's a spicy one. There's some really good ones. Check out landofbiltong.com, everybody.
I just love how it's like, because I've worked with them as well, and I love how it's not heated, it's not cooked. Everything is just dry, cured, and aged. So you're just eating like pure beef in its most natural form.
I love it so much. I've had biltong that's too chewy. I don't know. I haven't had this one yet. And those you can like cook them a little to cook down the tendons or whatever it is that's so chewy, and then you can eat it. Biltong's amazing.
That's when you mew and build up the muscles in your jaw. But I love the fat, and I love all the like cartilage and all the stuff in there. It's incredible. I love it. Truly great product, and really great, and very happy to be working with them. So yeah, check them out. Promo code WRC. As now we officially will be making the transition over to a free speech platform that allows us to say and do whatever we want, which we will be taking full advantage of. That platform we can't even mention here on YouTube, because when we do, YouTube automatically destroys our engagement. But this is the website. You're seeing it right now. You go to the front page of this website, and we are number 2 in picks. We have a lot of audience members there already. We have a lot of people on YouTube. I think our audience has doubled. It's probably because no one wants to work today. I wanted to work because I want to highlight the kind of Tim Pool, Donald Trump interview that we're going to be sending everyone over to in about an hour from now. Yeah, go over there right now. The conversation continues. I think we got a couple people already kind of lining up to call that are members of LukeUnfiltered.com. But before getting over there, Bobby, where can people find out more information about you, and where can they support you?
So at Take Naps on Instagram is my home base, but you can find all my links in my link tree at followbobby.com. Followbobby.com.
Nice. Ian?
Yeah, I also have a link tree at iancrossland.net, which will spawn you into every other, a lot of other websites. But follow me on X, on YouTube, on Minds, on Rumble. That's so weird. I can say X and this and that and hit it, Luke. But anyway, follow me on all these other platforms. I'm happy to portray my best self online. So jump in and check out what I got going on at Ian Crossland.
Steph, you've been posting a little bit more on social media.
Yeah. You can find me there at Steph We Are Change on Instagram, or Steph WRC on X. I have a lot of stuff about detoxing. There's a free guide you can download and have and share with your family and learn more about what you can do to cleanse your body. And then there's also my affiliate link for the cleanse that I just did, which is pretty amazing. I'll talk more about it later.
So yeah, well, more poop talk coming up on this other platform, as well as all the issues that we cannot get into on this particular platform. Again, the website right here. Go over there. Very easy to find us. Find us right now. And the conversation there continues in a totally